See, I'm starting a new sermon series right now. I'm calling it Don't Give Up. And this week I'm going to talk about not giving up on people. And next week I'm going to talk about not giving up on yourself. And both of these messages will come out of the book of Philippians. And I think today's message is a very important message. Because if you're like me, you've given up on someone. I bet every one of us has someone in your life that you finally have just written off. And you're like, forget her, forget him, I'm done, I'm through. And you just cut off the relationship completely. It might be a family member. Does anyone have a black sheep in your family? Don't raise your hand on that one. Yeah, black sheep in the family, and you have this black sheep, and it's like they've made all these mistakes, and you're so frustrated, and finally you go, you know what? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with them. I don't need this anymore. It's over. And my message today for you is don't give up. Don't give up on people. Maybe it's a coworker. Anyone you work with someone that's like a real jerk? You work with them and they're mean to you, or they're rude, or they're obnoxious, or they're frustrating. And you finally go, that's just who they are. I'm tired of dealing with them. I'm done. My message today, don't give up on people. A third example is this is the one. I hope you don't think less of me saying this. My wife and I call them leeches. Does anyone, you know what I'm talking about? When there's someone that seems to just suck the life out of you. They suck your joy. And it's like, oh. And you're like, is this what I'm supposed to do as a Christian? Just let people suck the life out of me? Is that it? Come on, surely not. Surely not. I'm tired of leeches. I'm tired of them sucking the life out of me. I'm done. I'm done with them. And so my message today is don't give up. Now, I want to have a qualifier here. Let me just let you know, you can apply almost any message in a weird way. And you could take what I'm going to say today and apply it in ways that I didn't mean for you to apply it. You could walk away and go, well, I think Darren says that even if there's an abusive husband, that the wife ought to just keep going back and getting beat up because you're not supposed to give up on the guy. Well, whoa. I didn't say that. Whenever I talk about not giving up on people, what are we talking about? There might be someone that maybe they have a system or a relationship of dependency where you have someone that should be more of an adult but isn't acting like it. And someone's funneling resources or funneling something their way that's when they need to be picking up the ball. And, well, don't give up on them. Well, I don't know if that's one. I'm not saying we don't treat each other like adults. I'm saying we don't throw people aside and give up on their salvation and just cut off all relationships with them. There's a difference there. Does that make sense? And I don't know if it's healthy to allow someone to suck all the joy out of your life. Just because you don't give up on someone doesn't mean you have to make everyone your best friend. So that's kind of my disclaimer here as I get started, because I want to talk about not giving up on people, but I also want to make sure we treat each other like adults. Adults should be treated like adults. That's okay, and that's not me giving up on someone. And also I want to make sure that I'm being wise. I want to surround myself with people that are going to bring the best out of me, not the worst out of me. So all that being said, acknowledge this. Jesus believed in people much more than we do. Jesus went over and sat down with the woman at the well, who had been married 5 times and was living with a man who was not her husband, and he had a long conversation with her. A very impactful, spiritual conversation with her, believing in her, knowing that her work's not done yet. Everyone else has probably given up on her, Jesus hadn't. That's a trend in the life of Jesus Christ. Remember little Zacchaeus? Poor guy has all these jokes made about him for the rest of his life as sermon illustrations because he was a wee little man. Little Zacchaeus was a tax collector. And you know what tax collectors did? They worked for the Romans. A Jew working for the Romans. He's a traitor. He comes into Jewish homes and he would tell them, this is how much money you owe to the Romans in tax. And he would always inflate the number so that he could take the difference between what was actually owed and what he charged to line his own pockets. This was the custom. Everyone knew it. You give up on tax collectors, but Jesus didn't. I'm going to your house today. He went to spend time with Zacchaeus. He believed in people more than you and I probably do. And so my message is that that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to stay with people. We're supposed to believe in them. And we're supposed to be the type of individuals where the downtrodden and those that are suffering and hurting can always come over and find us rooting for them as cheerleaders. That's what we're called to be, cheerleaders for the brokenhearted. So I want to look at some beautiful language now out of the book of Philippians. This is Paul writing, and Paul wrote to a city called Philippi, the Christians that were living there. And I'll take it just a few verses at a time. We'll just start with the first few verses in Philippians chapter 1, starting with verse 3. He writes, I thank my God every time I remember you. In all my prayers for all of you, I always pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel from the first day until now. Isn't that beautiful? As he starts this letter to the Philippians, he goes, you know what? I am so thankful for you. If you are truly thankful for someone, if you have the eyes to be able to see something good in their life, something that you can be grateful for, you won't give up on them. And this is the Apostle Paul's heart. He looked at, you think all the Christians there, he looked at all these Christians, he goes, I just pray with thanksgiving. I'm so grateful for you. And if there's someone in your life that you've given up on, no matter who it is, I want to ask you to turn your eyes a little different and to have the eyes of Christ and to look into them again and to see, is there something you can be thankful for in their life? Surely there's something positive that they bring to the table. Surely there's something. I used to work with a lady at the church I was at last. I just moved there. Her name was Chris. She had been with the church for years. She was the discipleship minister, and she did a great job. When I first got there, she knew everyone. So she was the one I always went to pick her brain. And I'd go and I'd say, hey, Chris, there's a nice lady sits in the back. I'm not sure, though. Is her name Ella or Emma or Irma? What's her name? And Chris would go, oh, you're talking about Ella. She is a sweetheart. You're going to love her so much. She has the most tender spirit. She does this and this and this, and oh, she's so precious. I said, oh, okay. And I'd go over to her later, hey, I was needing someone to recruit, to greet. Do you have any ideas? Oh, well, you probably don't know Tom yet. Oh, you'll love Tom. Oh, he's so great. He has 3 kids, and all 3 of those kids are just so precious. I started noticing every single time she talked about someone, she talked about how much she loved them and how thankful she was for them. And she always saw the good in others, to the point where I started getting suspicious. Do you not know that people are like jerks? I mean, do you not know what people are actually like, Chris? And don't you know, like in church settings, we're supposed to get around and talk about how ugly we are and how terrible we are and how rude we are. That's what we're supposed to do. But you're always talking well of others. She did it all the time. And there were times I would leave her office And I would go into my office and I would say, Lord, give me a heart like Chris's. Help me to see the best in others. How does she do that? How can she see all the same people I see and she sees something good in them? You know what this caused? When someone had a true problem, do you know who they'd go to? You think they'd come to me? Who would they go to? Chris. Because they knew that she saw the best in them. Everyone needs that. Everywhere you go in life, someone's going to be looking at the bad in you. They're going to be complaining. They're going to be bickering everywhere you go. But if you could find someone who actually sees the best in you, you're going to keep going back there. You need that. We all do. I need that, and you need that. And that's what Paul writes as I think this is a message about not giving up on people, to have a better heart and a better view of others, to see potential. My mom is here today. My mom is sitting in the back corner over here in the dark. That's my mother, Terry Kleeman. She has been a great mother for me. I am who I am today. Oh, you be quiet, you. I didn't say that. She's a great mother. My mom went to school with a young man who was a couple years younger than her. And it was in Stockton, Missouri. Is anyone familiar with Stockton? Stockton, you know Stockton? Stockton had this young man who had a horrible accident when he was 9, 10 years old. He accidentally shot his younger brother. It's a horrible accident. Shot and killed his little brother. My mother would tell me this story as I was growing up. It became almost like proof of how important what people think of you actually is. Because this young man would go to school in a small town where everyone knew he was the guy that shot his little brother. At recess, all of his classmates would tease him by calling him a murderer. Put him in tears. Murderer, murderer, murderer. Kids can be cruel, but adults can be just as cruel. You know that. He's in prison today for murder. He grew up and committed one of the worst kind of murders I've ever read. My mother would tell me that, and she'd always talk about how important it is that we tell people what it is that we expect from them, that we let people know this is what you are. And we do it in a positive way because we believe what we hear. We do. Wives, if you tell your husbands that they're an idiot and you keep telling them, he'll start acting like an idiot. He will. Yeah. I always tell my wife, don't ever tell me you're fat. Don't ever do it because I'll start believing it. Just tell me whatever you want me to believe. I'll believe it. It's true. It's true. And if we ought to be the people that look into others' lives and we have to see the best in them, this is who you are. I'm so thankful for you. I'm so glad that you're a partner with me in this family, in this business, in this church. Paul wrote to Philippi and he said, I'm thankful for you and I pray with joy because of your partnership in the gospel. I'm glad I'm on your team. Now, not only did he have thanksgiving for the Christians in Philippi, but he expressed it. He said this out loud. He let them know, I'm thankful for you. So that they could hear it and that they could know Paul's thankful for us. He's thankful that we're on his team. You got to open your mouth and let people know how thankful you are for them. We are the people that don't give up on others. Others people will give up on them. The world will give up on them. But Miles City Christian, we don't give up on you. We're right here. And we'll be with you to the very end. Now, not only does he talk about this thanksgiving, but the next verse, I think it might be the most beautiful verse in the whole section. He says, being confident of this, that verse 6, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. What was that? Yeah. Paul says, I'm confident that God is going to keep working in your life. He's not going to stop. And so when I'm frustrated because you're not growing as fast as I think you should grow, when I'm frustrated because you have immaturity in your life that's driving me crazy, or habits, or you're sinning against me and it's really frustrating me, when I'm really frustrated, I'm going to choose to remember that you're a person that's a work in progress. God's not finished with you yet. Is there anyone in here that has troubles completing projects? Like you start a whole bunch of things, but you don't finish them? I feel your pain. So you start all these projects, like you go into a scrapbook room and you get all the scrapbooks out, you get all the pictures, you get it all sorted, and then weeks go by and there's like dust on the pictures because you didn't finish it. And that's going on in here. And outside there's like a fence that's either being put up or needing to be painted or something, but it's only half done. And it's like, has this been years since you've been working? How long has this been now? This fence is just sitting there. It's not getting done. You go into like a pantry area and someone went in and pulled all the stuff out of the pantry and put like half of it away and the rest half's just sitting out now. Okay, is someone going to get to this? Who's going to finish this up? God is working not with projects. He's working with people. And people, you don't just slap together and have a finished product. You don't do that with anyone. God is a little bit slower in the way he works with people. It's like he doesn't go over and say, oh, here's Bill. Poor Bill. Bill has a drug problem. He's been addicted for a while. Grew up in a terrible home. Doesn't have anyone that really supports him. Hasn't had his whole life. But now he wants to become a Christian. But boom, boom, done. He's done. Now I'm going to come over here and pick up Sue. Sue's been angry with me ever since her dad died. She hasn't been able to figure out why she has to go on throughout this life without a father. Boom, 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 done. Okay, now going, God doesn't work like that. We all know that. But we expect others to be a finished product. We label people quickly. Someone lies to us and we go, oh, they're a liar. That's who they are. Yep, they're just a liar now, right? Yeah, you come across one person that's been divisive in the church and it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Guess what? They're a wolf. 20 years later, oh, I remember that wolf. They're just done. Finished product. And that's why we're able to give up on people. That's why we're able to cut people off and go forget them, because we know they're a finished product, but God doesn't. God knows all these people are a work in progress. And so that's what he's saying, that he who began a good work in you, he's going to carry it on to completion. That God's working in people's lives. God's working in Bill. And God picks up Bill and goes, oh, Bill, he's had a rough life. You don't know what Bill's gone through. Only I do. Bill doesn't even know how rough he's had it. He thinks his life's been normal. Oh, Bill, don't you worry, Bill. I'm going to be setting you down right here. You just keep suffering. You just keep hurting. I'm getting ready to start a Bible study. It's going to be 2 months from now. You don't even know yet. But there's going to be a man that's going to have a connection with you, and it's going to help you through this one little part of what you've been through. And God's just continued shaping and molding and shaping and molding. And we're expecting a finished product. So when Bill makes us mad, we're frustrated with him. But God's working in his life. Comes over to Sue. Sue's been so angry. You know what? Sue doesn't see down the road like God does. He doesn't know that there's going to be another woman that Sue's going to make a big impact with. Someone else is going to have a tragic loss in her life, and God knows that this pain she's going through right now is going to equip her and help her to minister. And you see, he doesn't just slap us together and say, done. It's all this work in progress. He does it with me, and he does it with you. And he does it with every single person that you've been so frustrated with that you've cut off and went, forget them. God's working in their life. So be confident that he who began a good work in them will carry it on to completion. It's time to not give up on them. It's time to believe in them again. Now the verse goes on in the next section. I love this too. He says, "It is right for me to feel this way about all of you, since I have you in my heart, and whether I am in chains," which he was in chains when he wrote this book, "or defending and confirming the gospel, all of you share in God's grace with me. God can testify how I long for all of you with the affection of Christ Jesus." Say, what did he just add to the end of that? If I said that to someone, you'd think I was bragging. You'd go, Darren, you don't know if you should say that. I love you as much as Jesus does. What? No, I have competitions with my kids sometimes, how big we love each other. You know, it's like, I love you this big, I love you this big, I love you this big, I love you this big. You know, you have this big thing going on. I love you as much as Jesus does. Really? And then Paul brings out, it's almost comical. Yeah, I can prove it. You want proof how much I love you? I'll prove it to you. Just ask God. Yeah, God will testify on my behalf. Just pray to him. And God, does he really? Yeah, just ask him. Ask God. God will let you know, yes, he loves you as much as Jesus does. That's some deep, serious love. There is a woman who really, really annoyed me in Columbus. And I'm ashamed to say it because there was nothing really bad that she ever did to me, other than the fact that her personality rubbed me wrong. Is that just being honest? Honestly, it was kind of her pauses. The way she would pause frustrated me. Like, hi, Darren. Hi. I hated that pause at the beginning. It just drove me crazy. I don't know why. Just rubbed me wrong. She's a sweetheart. Every time I was hurting, she'd call me up, tell me she's praying for me. She was always encouraging. What's my problem? I don't know, but I know this. If we can't learn to love people that it's difficult to love, then we will never understand the love that Jesus has for us. If we can't learn how to deeply love those that it's hard to love, then we'll never understand God's love. Because God came and loved me when I was a sinner, when I blew it, when I had all these mistakes and I should have been discarded. God should have said, I'm giving up on this guy for sure. God didn't. He sent his son. He died for me. He chose to love me. That's the love of God. And so my practice, my life of loving people that it's hard to love is me embracing the love I've already received and learning what it's actually like. What is God's love like? How could he love me even when I frustrated him with all my weird awkwardness? You think I'm not weird? It's of course. How could I get frustrated with someone else? It doesn't make any sense. It's a heart issue. And if you are thankful for others, you're not going to give up on them. If you believe that they're a work in progress, you're not going to give up on them. And if you truly understand the love of God, and if you love others, you're not going to give up on them. And not only did he have this love for them, but he shared this love with them. Hey, I'm also going to let you know about it. I love you with the affection of Christ Jesus. You don't believe me? Just pray. Ask God. He'll tell you. I do. I love you that much. Finally, the end of this passage, Paul Paul throws this out. And this is my prayer. 25 years I've been in ministry. I've never had this prayer request, ever. No one's ever asked me to pray for this. You need to take any prayer requests today? Anyone have a prayer request? Yes, I have a prayer request. My neighbor's cat has been very sick. Okay, neighbor's cat's sick. Okay, anyone else? Yes, there's someone I don't know, but someone that I knew that told me about this other person. They're going through this difficult time. Okay, we'll pray for that. Anyone else? Yeah, I'm a very politically minded person, so I pray against the political party that I hate so much. Okay, I'll write that down. Anyone else? Yeah, and these are the prayers we pray, right? Have you ever heard a prayer like this? And this is my prayer, that your love may abound more and more in knowledge and depth of insight, so that you may be able to discern what's best and be pure and blameless for the day of Christ, filled with the fruit of righteousness that comes through Jesus Christ to the glory and praise of God. What? I've never heard a prayer like that. Have you? Paul, he didn't pray for our physical well-being. And all of Paul's prayers did this. He prayed right into the heart of a person. And he said, this is what he would have raised his hand. I said, do you have a prayer request? He'd have raised his hand. I said, Paul? He said, yeah, I want to be praying for Steve. I want to pray that Steve's love starts to grow. And it starts to grow and overflow until he has new insight, a new perspective on life that will help him to know what's best for him to do in his life. Who's Steve? What's this? What's going? That's what Paul prayed. These big prayers that would have transformed a person into truly being a disciple of Jesus Christ. Be thankful for people. Love them. See them as a work in progress. And pray for them. Pray deeply for them. Pray for their heart. Pray for their soul. Don't give up on them. Keep praying. Keep praying. Keep praying. And if you pray for them, and if you keep praying, don't just pray for them. Pray with them. Take that prayer and communicate it to them. Let them know what you're praying for. You go out to a mailbox and you open up the mailbox and pull out a letter. Oh, this person hasn't written me before. And you open it up and inside is a note. Hey, I just wanted you to know I'm praying for you. I believe in you. I'm so thankful for you. I believe God's still working in your life, and it's exciting to see all the wonderful things He's doing. And I want you to know I'm praying, and this is what I'm praying for. I'm praying that God would take your heart and just cause it to continue to grow and just pour out your prayers. You can get away with anything in prayer. You can share anything with anybody in prayer. They'll take it. You can sit down with someone, and it's like, you can't say this face to face, but as soon as you start, hey, let's pray. You can get away with anything then. They'll sit there, they'll take it. And they'll receive it well because it's a prayer. They will. And so pray your heart out for them. Pray with them. Share your love. But don't give up. Don't give up. If you have a family member that you've given up on, this is going to be my challenge today. Go home tonight and just make one simple phone call and let them know that they are on your mind. That you're just thinking of them. Come up with something good to say about them. And just share that. Don't give up. If there's a coworker that's driving you nuts this week, why don't you communicate to them how much they mean to you? Instead of giving up on them, just take a step out. Just reach out and let them know. Be the type of person that they want to be. If there's someone in your street, some old man that gets all frustrated because your leaves are in their yard and he's driving you nuts, just come over and compliment his wonderful yard. He'll love you for it. And let's be a people that see the best in others, lift each other up, and never, ever, ever give up on those that God is working through. It's true. God said, knock off the dust off your feet. God said about King Herod, he said, tell that fox I've got nothing to say to him. But for the most part, the whole life of Jesus was spending time with those that were hard to love. So that needs to be our heart too.